You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Michael Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Mike Lodge. I'm glad that you have joined me. I'm really happy you're here. Today, I'm not going to start with my own company ad. I'm not going to play that this morning because I feel so very much. I feel it's very important that I discuss this issue because I think that a lot of young people have gone in a different direction than what America has been and what it will be and what it shall be. We see a group of individuals, very young, who are believing this story about how great socialism is. And Bernie Sanders has been promoting this for years and years and years. Even since 1964, while he was attending the University of Chicago, Sanders joined the Young People's Socialist League, the youth wing of the Socialist Party in the USA. He also organized for a communist front, the United Packinghouse Workers Union, which at that time was under investigation by the House Committee of Un-American Activities. Pretty much everything that Bernie Sanders has done has been really anti-American. I mean, he goes around and he talks about how every worker should do this and every worker should do that and how they should get this and how they should get that. He talks about it every single moment that he can. So I'm concerned that his socialist ideas have gone now over to a communist idea. This is an individual who has been dedicated to his socialist views in the past, where it was fighting for the rights of the people. Unfortunately, the people never got any better off of his socialist views, but Bernie Sanders did. He became a multimillionaire. So to me, what these individuals see in Bernie Sanders is promises, but they're not going to be kept because the American people will not allow them to be kept. I'm telling you right now, if he were to even get close to the White House, the American people would rise up. And there would be civil chaos in this nation because of it. You see, his socialist ideas are not socialist, they are communist. This is an individual who praised Lenin, who praised the Soviet Union style of running their country, who praised Fidel Castro as he overtook Cuba, who made several trips to Russia, into Cuba, into also Nicaragua. These are all heavily dominated socialist companies, and Nicaragua is supported by Cuba. And if you look at the individuals who are in Nicaragua at the moment, they are Russians. So this is not an ideal that does any good for the people. It does it for the people who want to control the people. And that's where Bernie Sanders is headed. So if you are believing this nonsense that he is for you, it's not. He is for the Russian style of running a government where the people have no say, but the elite do. The people who are in charge are the ones that get wealthy, and the ones down below, you don't get anything, because under socialism and under communism, you do what the government tells you to do. This is not a happy-go-lucky place where you get free education and free medical and free stuff. No, these are controlling mechanisms put in place by the communists and by socialist regimes to control individuals, to control the people. And that's what is so bad about Bernie Sanders and his socialism is that this is what he wants. He wants the government to literally control everything that you do. You can no longer decide what kind of education you're going to get, how you're going to pay for it, what school you're going to go to, what hospital you're going to go to. You will no longer have that choice. You will go where Bernie Sanders tells you to go. That is not an American way. This country was formed by people coming to this nation to get away from that style of dictatorship. They came away from a king who controlled everything that they did. They had taxation without representation. And that is the same thing in socialism, in communism. You have no representation. And you can see that right now going on in Nicaragua, where and also in Venezuela, where people no longer have a say in their government. It is ruled by a dictator, which is exactly what Bernie Sanders wants. So if you are falling for all this free stuff, put it to the side, because this is not the American way. That is a socialist way. That is a communist way. We Americans truly believe in independence. Independence in thinking, independence in belief, independence in religious freedom, independence in doing whatever we want to do to get financially sound. We have independence. We get to make choices. And that's what the country of America is all about, is making those choices. And yes, you have a choice of choosing the individual for your president, but you had better be careful, because that individual may take away your rights, your freedoms, your liberties, your democracy, your country even. And that's where we stand at the moment as individuals begin to surround this communist, this socialist called Bernie Sanders. And you can call me all kinds of names, because I really don't care, because I'm telling you the God's honest truth. I don't stretch these things out. I've been watching this man for so long. I've been listening to his words, and even his financial policy for America is driven directly right off of Lenin's policy for Russia. And that is what is scary. We have an individual called Bernie Sanders who wants to come in and totally demolish what America is all about. Don't make me an excuse that, no, he's going to give me free education. I don't care. That is a controlling issue of a man who wants to take over and control you. He's not going to control me, because I'm not going to allow it. But he is going to control you. He will tell you exactly what you're going to do. And that's what he's doing now. If you notice that his policies are not researched, or let's not use the word research, they are not supported by anyone in the United States, except for those individuals who want free stuff. I'm afraid that America is an independent thinking country. We want to keep our independence. We want to continue to be able to choose the healthcare plan we want. We want to be able to choose the college and university we send our children to, or we choose to go to ourselves. We want an independent nation that we are able to choose the religion we want to worship. Now remember, in socialism and in communism, there is no religion. There is no God. Not one time have I ever heard Bernie even mention the word God. At no time in the years that I have been studying him have I ever seen him in a church except to attend a funeral. He does not believe in a God. He does not believe in religious freedom. A socialist will stomp down that religious freedom the very moment that they take office. And as you know, religious freedom in this nation is very important. Every one of us get to decide if we're going to go to church on Friday or Saturday or Sunday or in the middle of the week, and what church it's going to be and what pastor is going to be there and who we associate with as Christians. But in socialism, in communism, religion is not accepted. Look at China, look at Russia. For years and years, just now, Russia is moving away from socialism and communism. They still have a dictator-type individual, but they're starting to move away. So churches are now moving up in that country. But under Soviet rule and communism and Soviet political thought process and control is all about control. That's how Lenin took over the nation. He had a scheme. Just as Bernie has a scheme. He had a scheme to go in there and make all these promises to the people. And once he got that power, Lenin then squashed every freedom of thought. Every freedom of decision-making, independence. It was squashed. And we see the same thing happen in Venezuela. We see it in Cuba. We see it in all of these countries that are trying to be socialist. What Bernie is trying to sell you on is the Sweden and the Norwegian, and they are the first ones that will say to you, we are not socialists. They have come out time and time again over the last 4 years saying, we are not socialists, we are a free market society. Socialism is not a free market society. Do not believe what Bernie Sanders is telling you about socialism. Socialism is socialism. If he is supporting the Russian way, and if he was supporting Lenin, and he loved Lenin, and he loved Fidel Castro, excuse me, expect that to happen under his watch. That's what's going to happen. So we have a problem. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. So I'm going to speak to the young person's heart. I'm even going to speak to the individual who used to be a hippie. This is not the socialism that you want to have in this nation. AOC is out there giving great praises to this socialism. She wants to be able to make promises to all of her young followers that we are going to get free education. We're going to get this free and that free. It's a sneaky ploy. It's a scheme. And it's a scheme that we as Americans do not want in this nation. I love America. I love it with all my heart, with all my soul. And I will stand up against socialism at any given time. I will not allow it around me. You have been duped into believing that the socialist belief is going to help our country, but it's not. It is a bold-faced lie. Socialism is all about gaining the power to control the people. Bernie Sanders' socialism is a form of communism. In fact, it is communism. If you look at after he got his degree from college, and he had a degree in political science, Sanders moved to Vermont, where he headed the American People's History Society in an origin for Marxist propaganda. There he produced a glowing documentary on the life of the socialist revolutionary Eugene Debs, who was jailed for espionage during the Red Scare and hailed by the Bolsheviks as America's greatest Marxist. This is the danger that you have with Bernie Sanders. He is a submersive hero to young Americans. He's been denounced by even the most liberal Democrats as a traitor, bashed the barons of Wall Street, and hailed the triumphant Bolshevik revolution in Russia. He loved that. He hailed a communist revolution. He loved a communist revolution. He loved it so much that he decided that when he became senator, he was going to try to do the exact same thing, exact same model, the exact same ideology on America. He wanted America to fall into a socialist, Marxist, communist type situation. That's what he has wanted, and that's what he has been striving for all of his life in public office and when he was in school. You have to remember that Sanders is this guy who took several goodwill trips. Goodwill, I don't know what even that means, but goodwill trips not only to the USSR and also to Cuba and Nicaragua, where the Soviets were trying to expand their influence in our hemisphere. They were trying to get into the American countries south of us. And they were successful. And now they've got Bernie Sanders spreading it into the United States. Now, I have to say this, that a few days ago, Bernie Sanders said he was given a report from security saying that Russia was trying to make him president. They were supporting him. Honestly, I would believe that based upon everything that he has said in pro-activity towards Russian communism, socialism from Russia. I would see why Russia would want him to be in our nation so that they can get more control over this nation, and they've done it very well. They started in 2016, and now they're going right into 2020. Russians want a socialist in our office of the president. They want that. That's what they've been gaining for. That's what they have been hoping for. That is their plan, to get somebody in this government to be in control so that they can control them. That's what their whole style is all about. I'm sure that the Russian embassy is jumping for glee every time they see that Bernie Sanders is going up into the polls. And people are saying that he is a front runner. A socialist, a communist, is now a front runner for president of the United States in the Democratic Party. And so I ask all of you that are in the Democratic Party, what have you become? What have you become? I'm asking you that question, and I want an answer back. What have you become? And I'm going to tell you what you've become. You have become a pawn in the communist socialist regimes. You've been promised all of this great free stuff, but it's not going to be free. It is going to be a crushing blow upon every American, because you will be told what to do every moment of your day. Because that is how socialism works. You will no longer be able to choose that college you want to go to. You will never be able to choose what insurance plan is going to cover your health care. You will no longer have that right to choose. And you may no longer have the right to choose what religion that you're going to be. Because it may come back to a church-run or a state-run church. And that's what is scary about Bernie Sanders. I want you to go back. A very good article about him was in January 16th of 2016. It goes all the way back then. and it was in the New York Post, and it says, "Don't be fooled by Bernie Sanders. He's a die-hard communist." Even back in 2016, people were warning you about how dangerous this guy is. But yet you heard the word free, free, free. And you forgot to think about, are you a true patriot to your nation? Do you love this country? Or is it just all about you? Is it just all about what you want as free? Nothing is free. There is a price to pay for freedom, and there's another price to pay for free stuff from a socialist. I want you to begin thinking very hard about what kind of an American you are. Where is your patriotism? Are you for the American people, or are you for a socialist regime that will take place and will take total control over your life? Do you want that type of regime? Because that's what you're going to get with Bernie Sanders and the Russians. This is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you soon. Everyone go out. Think about what you're doing. Think about who you're voting for. Think about what kind of a nation you want this America to be, and not what you want is a socialist elitist wants America to be. Do you love America, or do you love a political agenda? This is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.